Excuse me, everyone, I have a brief announcement to make. Jesus was black, Ronald Reagan was the devil, and the government is lying about 9/11. Thank you for your time, and good night.
Shalom, I.S.U.P.K. Shalom, I.S.U.P.K. Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shabbarakathah.
Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shabbarakathum.
No one knows because they tried to keep it on the low from all my folks because they folk, so I'ma kill them with the flow. Blinded by the dough, we can't see clearly through the smoke. They'd rather see us on that drone, locked up, they're buried in a hole. Ain't wanna see us grow because they can't go toe to toe, but I can feel it in my soul. They gon' be reaping what they sow. Try to stop our glow, but they cannot achieve their goal, so I can feel it in my soul. They gon' be reaping though.
Hey, who shot big smalls? If we don't get them, they gon' get us all. And I'll be damned if I just sit back while my people fall. There is no contestant when we all in this together. So let's come together now so we can end this shit forever. I don't wanna go to school, I'd rather read up on my enemies and study all the methods used to kill my people mentally. Sex, money, and drugs is destroying our identity. And this ain't nothing new, this shit been going on for centuries. Instead of fighting for rights, we should have been fighting for our land. Now we fighting for the man, they'll go right into their plan. And I'm sick of this, it's ridiculous how the government is such hypocrites. They make the laws, then break the laws. How serious should I take the laws? My blood, homie, I'll take the laws. This family first, worst come to worst, and I die for mine. Me and my niggas, we charged up like alkaline. We strapped up like Columbine. When it's wartime, I'm on the front line. Facts life, I'm acting like I was born again, it's the afterlife.
No one knows because they tried to keep it on the low from all my folks because they folk, so I'ma kill them with the flow. Blinded by the dough, we can't see clearly through the smoke. They'd rather see us on that drone, locked up, they're buried in a hole. Ain't wanna see us grow because they can't go toe to toe, but I can feel it in my soul. They gon' be reaping what they sow. Try to stop our glow, but they cannot achieve their goal, so I can feel it in my soul. They gon' be reaping what they sow. Check it, get your life right, cause this the last call. Christ coming back and he's gonna judge us all. It can happen while you shopping, walk around the mall. Where you from, where you at, Babylon will fall. Lose your head by the sword or obey his laws. You hear them drum beats? We in the midst of war, but it's a holy one. I speak the holy tongue. Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shabbarakathum. I got the most high power, I ain't need a gun. I'll be out here repping till his kingdom come. His bread's for the children, you can't get a crumb. Yeah, they hear me, they ain't feeling where I'm coming from. But la-di-da-di, fuck everybody from the Catholic Church to Illuminati. Christ coming back, not an Anunnaki trying to warn the people, but they tried to knock me. What you thought that I wasn't poison? Fuck all of y'all, white's poison. No one knows because they tried to keep it on the low from all my folks because they folk, so I'ma kill them with the flow. Blinded by the dough, we can't see clearly through the smoke. They'd rather see us on that drone, locked up, they're buried in a hole. Ain't wanna see us grow because they can't go toe to toe, but I can feel it in my soul. They gon' be reaping what they sow. Try to stop our glow, but they cannot achieve their goal, so I can feel it in my soul. They gon' be reaping what they sow. No one knows because they tried to keep it.
Yo, I stay away from the streets and the trouble to get in. Trying to stay strong in this world full of sin, but they wanna bring us down, they ain't wanna see us win. They wanna kill us all, Lord, tell me, can I live? Can a nigga live? Can I live? Can a nigga live? Lord, tell me, can I live? I know the hatred's deeper than the color of your skin. Can I live? Can a nigga live? Can I live? Can a nigga live? Lord, tell me, can I live? Know the hatred's deeper than the color of your skin. Can I live?
America KKK, land of the good smokers, home of the slaves. And I'm just trying to be great. Tell me, how can I live with the trauma every day? I'm a light, I'm a beam in this darkness. It seems that real life is a nightmare. Can I live my dreams on this earth? Since I was young, I realized I had a destiny bigger than the fiction that's disguised as what was best for me. Better than the hate and all the lies that be the death of me. As of late, since we've been hypnotized since elementary. Thought it was my skin, but studied something that was new to me. They hate me because of what my ancient ancestors used to be. Healers, teachers, deities, not all of them were kings and queens. Our nature was natural, not supernatural. Now they call it magic and voodoo, that shit ain't practical. All the roots connected, always more to learn of that, you know. Don't let the shit go over your head. Same snakes have been in the garden, but the skin just shed. They'll always try to convince you that it's all in your head. Just know you gotta do better before you hit your bed. I stay away from the streets and the trouble to get in. Trying to stay strong in this world full of sin, but they wanna bring us down. They don't wanna see us win. Trying to kill us all, Lord. Tell me, can I live? Can a nigga live? Tell me, can I live? Can a nigga live, Lord? Tell me, can I live? I know that hate is deeper than the color of our skin. Can I live? Can a nigga live? Lord, tell me, can I live? Can a nigga live? Tell me, can I live? I know that hate is deeper than the color of our skin.
Yeah.
Can I live?
They say my rhymes cause too much excitement, ride incitement, shit. Well, there's no indictments when my kinfolk get murdered by white men. Dark skin, light skin, divided and blinded. So we beef with each other, our brothers, rather than fight them. Fuck all that silence, it's time to get shit ignited. I ain't my way, low nigga. I ain't taking shit from no tars. And ain't no motherfucking nation got freedom from marching, begging for portions. Niggas ain't signing no parchments, big payback. You crackers got red in your margins. Why? They broke every treaty, slaughtered the buffalo, and then they set fire to teepees. They carved their face in mountains, but we go to jail for graffiti. We fought for this country, they gave us syphilis at Tuskegee. We been getting robbed, yeah, we're the ones who stay behind bars. They take all our money, but they ain't want to give us no jobs. Wasn't supposed to make it, but we stayed to find the odds. It's like we really only living off the grace of our God. Can I live without getting harassed by the Sarge? Can I live without getting slammed on my car? Can I live long enough to raise my kids? Can I live long enough to see justice? Yo, can I live without getting harassed by the Sarge? Can I live without getting slammed on my car? Can I live long enough to raise my kids? Can I live long enough to see justice? I stay away from the streets and the trouble to get in. Trying to stay strong in this world full of sin, but they wanna bring us down, they ain't wanna see us win. They wanna kill us all, Lord, tell me, can I live? Can a nigga live? Can I live? Can a nigga live? Lord, tell me, can I live? I know the hatred's deeper than the color of your skin. So can I live? Can a nigga live? Can I live? Can a nigga live? Lord, tell me, can I live? Know the hatred's deeper than the color of your skin. Can I live?
Hey, Shalom, Israel. Let's clap it up. Let's clap it up. Hey, this is Priest and Officer Tawago Bar. This is the Law and History class. We're about to rock it out. We're going to do some scripture breakdown. So we're going to get some scripture breakdown in, go over some different precepts, possibly some current events, some things that's currently happening in the world. And yeah, we're going to get into it. So what's the first thing I want to go into? John Morant. I believe General Hyman, he did speak about this a few days ago, the Monday night class. The situation with John Morant. If you don't know, John Morant plays for the Memphis Grizzlies. I don't know. It probably was like, about 4 months ago, maybe not even 4 months ago. John Morant flashed a gun on a video, on an Instagram video post where he was in a strip club in Denver, Colorado. And that was a big thing. Him flashing the gun. He got suspended. Of course, he lost money. And then recently, John Morant did it again, where there's a video with him and his friend bobbing in the car, and he puts up a pistol. And right now, black people, commentators, and everybody is coming down on John Morant. And like, you stupid. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, you're a multimillionaire. You got a $200 million contract that's guaranteed, and why would you mess that up? And this is the thing, though. We get upset at things like this, but we don't get upset, and we don't have so much input and so much energy into the things that actually matter when it comes to the issues of black people and us being brutalized, us being murdered, even us hurting each other. We don't have that same energy. these commentators, these celebrities, regular black people that are upset with Ja Morant, they don't have the same energy when it comes to a real life issue or when it comes to an issue about race or racism. Our people are afraid of that. Our people stray away from that. You understand? And that's because we have a slave mentality. We have a mentality like a child, meaning we're kind of like what's the movie? What was the movie? Django. What was his name? Samuel L. Jackson. I don't know the character he played, but it's almost like, or no, the character in Life, the gun line boss. Like, is we sick boss? Like, we feel how our oppressor feels. So if our oppressor feels like that's not appropriate, or he feels as though what is some of the things, some of the standards that that our oppressor has, that the so-called white man has, we put those standards on each other. So when it comes to the way we look at each other as far as a financial in the black community, we look down on other black people based on the standards that we have learned from our oppressor. Not that having money will make, money it should be the most important thing, but in the black community, if you don't have X, Y, and Z, then you're not worth anything. And that's not really coming from us. That's coming from our oppressor. That's a learned behavior, a learned outlook that we got from America. So the same is with Ja Morant. In reality, when it comes to him flashing the gun, the NBA don't want nobody flashing the gun, and the NFL didn't want anybody kneeling. And so there's rules that they have made in their particular workplace that really aren't illegal. It's really nothing wrong with it in the big picture. And so many people own guns. So many people have flash guns. So many entertainers. So many football players, and you don't hear a peep about it. And it seems like when we get the opportunity as a people, and we look at somebody as another brother or sister that they done messed up in the eyes of our oppressor, then we come down even harder on them. Kind of like the idea of like a police officer, right? When you get a black or Hispanic police officer, they go even harder on their own people when they have Caucasian co-workers. So they out there, they're trying to show their white partners that they can even go harder and tougher on them, on their own people. And that's that's the idea of what I'm talking about with Ja Morant and with the response from the black community. You had basketball players like Gilbert Arenas calling them stupid. No, Stephen, what's his name? I don't want to say Stephen A. Smith. Stephen Smith. Steven Jackson. He played for the San Antonio Spurs. He called the brother stupid. And just a host of other people just, going down hard on the brother. And I don't know, Ja Morant he's got to be like, could you look it up for me? See how old is he? This is something that, young men do. This is something that, we all done when we was growing up. That's the door. This is something that we all did. We all did some silly things when we were growing up. We all did some foolish things. Some of us did some things that we shouldn't be here at this time. We should have died a long time ago. But thanks to the Most High, he gave us grace and mercy to live and to actually be here and to be able to even come into this truth. That's a real blessing. I don't consider money a blessing for me. I consider me knowing who I am, learning this truth and looking at life a whole nother way, and being able to go out and help other brothers and sisters and help them change and turn their life around. That's a real blessing, you understand? But we do dumb things when we are young. You know what I mean? That's Ja Morant. You know what I'm saying? We do foolish things when we're young. We do things that are unguided, and you might look at a person and say, well, what's your problem? What the hell is your problem? Are you dumb? Are you stupid? Why do you keep doing this? You understand? And so that's the issue with Ja Morant. Just give me a second while the brother get the door. Salakia. Bear with The water. So John Moran is 23. John Moran is 23. So that's young. You just really starting to, grow and become a man. He's in the NBA, so he's exposed to things that a lot of 23-year-olds ain't exposed to. He's moving around, he's going places, he's got money, he's got access to different things, but for the most part, he's still a young man. Now, if you was to blame anybody in his situation, you would look at the people that is around the brother. I know his father frequents games. I know his father is always in the limelight. You would look at people like that, the older people that are in his circle, his agent, his father, and all of that. But the point is that we have a slave mentality when we want to hop on a brother or a sister for something foolish that they did. And this is the love of Christ. You see, you gotta long suffer with your people. You can't just get angry after like anything a brother do. You can't just get angry at him and get furious at him. You got to have some type of mercy and compassion and try to understand instead of just jumping on brothers and sisters all the time. And that's even in our personal lives. You can't just, be a frantic, crazy man. Could you get that for me, young man? You can't just be a frantic or crazy man within your house or with your brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? How are we supposed to bring brothers and sisters into the truth? The water. Give me a napkin, please. How are we supposed to bring brothers and sisters into the truth if the minute they mess up or they do something foolish or something, they shouldn't have done, we jump all down their throat and we call them all type of names and we, condemn them. That's what they do in the Christian church. Christians condemn Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. Christians, your mama, your grandma, your uncles and your aunties that go to church, they condemn their own people all the time. They say you should, you going to hell. How many people have heard that? They say you going to hell. You're going to hell for this. You're going to hell for that. You've heard it plenty of times in the Black community. You've heard Christians tell people they're going to hell, literally condemning them, literally condemning a person to hell. Like, you don't know who's going to hell according to the scriptures. We don't know. We don't even have that power to condemn anyone. The Bible says don't judge unless you be judged, right? But getting back to it, give me what I want. Give me Jeremiah 2:14. You know what? We can just start it from the top. Start Jeremiah 2:14 from the top. 2:1, Salaki. 2:1.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 2, and verse 1. Moreover, the word of the Lord came to me, saying, verse 2, go and cry in the ears of Jerusalem, saying, thus saith the Lord, I remember thee, the kindness of thy youth, the love of thine apostles.
Wait, Jared, where are you at?
Jeremiah 2.
Jeremiah 2 and Salakia. Skip up to verse 11. Give me verse 11. I'll start there.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 2 and verse 11. Hath a nation changed their gods, which are yet no gods?
This is the Lord talking about, have we changed our gods in the Black and Hispanic community? We changed our gods for gods that are not gods. We changed our gods from the God of Israel to the God of Islam, from the God of Israel to the God of Christianity, which is, young man, who's the God of Christianity? No. One more time. Who's the God of Christianity? Sister.
The white God?
White Jesus. White Jesus is the God of Christianity. We changed our God from the God of Israel to the God of the Chinese God, Buddha. We changed the God of Israel. We switched our gods and started worshiping other gods, something that we were told to never do. Keep reading.
But my people have changed their glory for that which doth not profit.
But we have changed our glory for something that doesn't profit us. These different religions don't profit us. These different religions don't help us. These different religions haven't fixed us. These different religions got us out here, Black and Hispanic people, looking crazy on social media. we're looking like a damn mess on social media, Black and Hispanic people. Let's be real. Let's be honest. Let's just be real and just say it. We look a hot mess on social media, our people. Like, you see it on a daily basis, the foolishness, the recklessness, the hate, the murder, the silliness. We look a damn fool on social media because we've changed the God that we had for other gods that that don't profit. And we don't have any glory anymore. We don't have no glory as God's chosen people. All we have is shame and is an embarrassment. We so damn embarrassed that when a brother flash a gun, we'll get down on him. We're so shamed, we'll get down on this brother, but we won't say anything about what happens when our people are killed by another race. We won't fight for our people when our people are used and abused by another people. But we'll hop on each other, right? Go ahead. And another thing, I had a brother tell me online today. He said, well, pertaining to what I just said, he said, well, when it comes to what John Morant did, it's like we as a Black people don't have to buy into the notion of what they think about us. Who gives a damn what they think about you? Who gives a damn what white America thinks about us? Because whether you're the best Negro or the worst Negro, they still gonna think the same about you. So why are you trying to impress them? Who gives a damn, right? Go ahead.
Verse 12. Be astonished, O ye heavens, at this, and be horribly afraid.
The Bible says to be astonished. He's saying, be astonished, O ye heavens. See, because we're God's chosen people. So it's an astonishment to see what has happened to God's chosen people and how they have switched their gods for gods that can't do anything for them. Keep reading.
Be ye very desolate, saith the Lord.
Did you say be? Did you read the part be horribly afraid?
No.
Okay, keep going.
Verse 13. For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters. We done committed two evils. We've forsaken the Most High. This is a metaphor. He's saying you have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters. Go ahead. And hewed them out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water.
Good night. So by switching from the God of Israel to the gods that cannot serve us and don't profit us, it's kind of like we done went from living water, fountains of living water. You can imagine fountains of water, to carving out our own cisterns, which is like little containers. But these little cisterns that hold water, they're broken. So we're putting in what we think is the things that we're getting from what we believe in, this new God that we exchange for the God of Israel, but it's just going right through the cisterns, out of the holes, pouring out. It don't profit us nothing, the things that we believe in. You know, all of the African spirituality and, crystal rocks and, moon rocks and, sage and, white Jesus and all of these belief systems that we have don't profit us. Just look at us. Just look at our people. Just look at Black people. Look at Black and Hispanic people and tell me that something ain't wrong with these people. There is something majorly wrong with us. And we've been like this for so long, we think it's normal life. We think it's just normal to be the way we are. We think it's just normal to gangbang. We think it's just normal to, whore ourselves out. Our women think it's normal to be half naked. They think that it's normal to, have their breasts all, the cleavage all hanging out. Like it's just a regular thing. They have no shame. Brothers think it's normal to do drugs, to sell drugs. It's like we can't understand what's wrong with it. We think it's just normal. Everybody does it, right? We don't have an idea or a clue what we should be doing or how to carry ourselves or how to even, live in this world. Go ahead.
Verse 14. Is Israel a servant?
Is Israel a servant? Read it again.
Is Israel a servant?
Is Israel a servant? Go ahead.
Is he a homeborn slave?
This is the Lord asking a question. He's being sarcastic. He's saying, is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Go ahead.
Why is he spoiled?
Why is he spoiled? Is Israel a servant? Are we homeborn slaves? I think we are. By looking at how black people responded to John Morant, I think we are homeborn slaves. We're homeborn slaves because we think like the people that born us in America, the people that had us enslaved in America. Oh, he shouldn't have did that. That's not appropriate. It's not appropriate. We think like them. You know what I mean? And to a certain extent, like I was talking about this earlier, our culture is American culture. But in the I.S.U.P.K, we're getting back to our real culture, right, which is us being Israelites, the children of God, right, God's chosen people, keeping the law, statute, and commandments in order for us to get up out of this place and get up out of the hellish conditions that we are. Right. We are homeborn slaves, because a homeborn slave will say this. This is what a homeborn slave will say. He will say, that nigga George, he's stupid. He's stupid. Why would you pull it? Why you're gonna lose all of your money? You got all of this success, you got a multi-million-dollar contract. You bet not lose it. You bet not lose it. You stupid. And it's like a slave saying, yeah, boss. Yes, boss. We in the big house now. That boy's in the big house. He sure better not pull a gun and mess that up. He's in the big house. You're not in the slave quarters no more. You're in the big house. That's the mentality that we have when we attack a brother like that, a young brother like that, over something like, holding a gun, which is not illegal, inside of a car. And he's like, if you see the video, he's dancing in the car with his homeboy and he pulls the gun up. Now, your mind is going to think about young black men that, might do a crime or something, get in trouble. That's where the mind will go looking at that for people that are homeborn slaves or even Caucasian people. But the thing is that when it comes to Salaki, I lost my thought, but the thing is that he wasn't breaking no laws, right? And you actually have NBA players shooting guns on camera, pointing guns at camera, taking pictures, and it's never been an issue, right? It's not an issue. And this is the thing. That is a right that a man could have. He can own a pistol. He can own a gun. But we don't feel like we are men in America. We don't feel like we are people. We feel like we are children, and we have to go along with what America thinks is right and wrong. And that's it. And we don't do no pushback, right? Read it from the top again.
Verse 14.
Con.
Verse 14. Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled?
Why is he spoiled? Why are we spoiled? What does it mean to be spoiled?
Like Robin's on that.
Okay, I'll take that. You got anything?
I was gonna say the same thing.
To be spoiled, like what they were saying is right. They said, the brother and the sister said, to be rotten, something to be rotten, something to be gone bad, like have some meat to go bad. You got something else? Useless. That's correct. To be spoiled, like we've lost our value, right? You got a piece of meat, you got some meat, and you about to cook it for dinner, and you open the package up and it's spoiled. You're not going to still cook it, you're just going to throw it away. And so that's God's chosen people. We have become spoiled. We have become slaves. We have lost our value, because our value is not in twerking. Our value is not in, being the best rapper. Our value is not in having the most money. Our value is not in flossing and having the designer clothes and having the best things in life and going on trips. That is not our value. Our value is very simple. Our value is to be priests and prophets of the Lord, to keep the law, statute, and commandments, and to live righteous and separate from every other nation on the planet. That is what will make us valuable. That is what will make us wise. That is what will put us on top in all things, in whatever we desire. All right. Matter of fact, give me Deuteronomy 4, Deuteronomy 4 and 5, chapter 4, verse 5, I believe. That is where you can drop that precept, but that is where, let me make sure, that is where our value is at. Our value is in our identity. That will make us the most valuable and precious things on this planet, and nothing can stop us, and nothing can compare to us. Nothing would be able to compare to us. Right now, everybody can compare to us and compete with us and look down on us and use us and abuse us. But when we turn back to the Most High, none of those things will be, no one will be able to do those things. None of those things will be possible. Salakia, 1 second, let me get there. Let's see. Let me make sure. So start at verse 4.
The book of Deuteronomy.
Okay, no, start at verse 1.
Okay. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 1. Now therefore, hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes and the judgments which I teach you, for to do them that ye may live, and go and possess the land which the Lord God of your fathers giveth you. This
is basic instructions. This is the Lord telling the children of Israel through Moses to follow all these statutes and judgments, to listen and to do them, so that we can live, that we'll be able to live, that so that we wouldn't die. You understand? It'd be basic rules to follow so that you don't die. Real basic rules that are not grievous, meaning they're not painful, they don't hurt. Yeah, you probably don't feel like doing it at the time, but you do it. You follow all the rules at your job. You follow all the rules at school. Well, you should follow all the rules at school. You obey the laws that are of the land, as far as, traffic lights and, what you can do and what you can't do. And a lot of these things are just there simply so that you don't die, like speeding or like using your cell phone while you're driving. Like, a lot of the rules are there just because so many people die from them. Well, the Lord gave the nation of Israel law, statute, and commandments, rules to live by, so that we could live. Skip down to verse 4.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 4. But ye that did cleave unto the Lord your God are alive, every one of you, this day.
Right. Keep going.
Verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it.
So this is Moses saying, I have taught you statutes and judgments, as the Most High had commanded me, that when we was going to go into this land, which was the land that the Canaanites lived in, we was going to take the land of Canaan, and we were supposed to go and have that land without any hiccups, if we would listen and follow all the laws, statutes, and commandments, all the things that we had learned. Keep going.
Verse 6. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding.
For this is what?
For this is your wisdom and your understanding.
This is your foolishness and your silliness.
This is your wisdom and your understanding.
This is your wickedness and your lasciviousness.
This is your wisdom and your understanding.
This would be your wisdom and your understanding. Keep reading.
In the sight of the nations.
In the sight of the nations. So when the other nations would look at us, when it says in the sight of the nations, it's like how they would see us. The sight of the nations, they would see us as wise and understanding. They would see us as a people that are intelligent, a people that know what to do when when problems arise, a people that make good judgments and good decisions. Go ahead.
Which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
So these people would look at us and say, surely these people are a wise and understanding people. These people know what to do when it's time to do it. These people know how to make decisions. these people are different from every other people. He said, in the sight of the nations, how would the other nations look at us? I was just talking about how we are viewed by other people, and just looking at how black people are today, how we're destroyed, how we are like at the bottom of the barrel as far as behavior, as far as the things that come out of our mouth, and as far as the way we raise our children and conduct our families. We're at the bottom of the barrel. But why? It's because we don't have the law, statutes, and commandments. But right here, you're just reading. If we was following those things, people would look at us like we're wise and understanding people, but they don't. They look at us like we're drug dealers. They look at us like we're thieves, we're criminals, we're rapists, we're whores, we're pimps, we're players, we're prostitutes. That's how other people look at black people. They look at us like we're children of America, because all we want to do is have pleasure, have fun, laugh and giggle and joke, smile now, cry later. You understand? Go to prison. We're like big kids. That's how other nations look at black and Hispanic people. Like and it's true. It's very true, because we don't want to deal with the big issues. We'll get on John Morant's neck. We'll go down his neck for putting a pistol up, but we won't fight our oppressor for killing us or shooting us in the back. We'll get on John Morant for having a gun and just holding a gun that he legally owns sitting in his car. But we won't say anything to the United States government for how they've done us, which are literally war crimes against humanity, right? That have never been paid. We won't say anything about that. We'll protest for a little bit, but we'll keep quiet, because we want to keep our jobs. We want to stay in the big house. We want to keep our opportunities, right. And we don't want no nigga to mess it up like John Morant, right? I just had a thought, but everybody knows the house Negro and the field Negro, right? And that's what I see with a lot of black people in that world, in that entertainment world, that news world. They are those house Negroes that don't want to lose that spot. And then you have a lot of black people that think like this. Your mama, your grandma at home probably think like this too. You think that you are better than the next black person because of some things that you don't do. And so you think you're better based on things that you don't do and material things that you have, or success or accolades that you have. So what a lot of black people they'll look at John Morant, or they'll look at like a rapper, they'll look at somebody that's right outside these doors, and they'll say, you see them right there? Those are niggas. I'm a black person. And you try to make a distinction between you and a brother that might not be on your level, that might come from the hood, that might not, have the education you got. You'll say, I'm a black person. Them over there, they nigga. You see how they acting? Those is niggas. When in reality, your oppressor looks at you the same way he looks at those niggas, dumb. Right. You understand? There is no difference in how your oppressor views you. They don't look at you different because you wear a suit and a tie. There's no difference with that. You understand? But when it comes to John Morant, I'm not saying the brother, he's right. But what I am saying is that we do have a slave mentality when it comes to the things we want to be upset about. And just like we're upset about that, no one stood with Colin Kaepernick. No one stood with none of the people that died. Nobody, fought to the end and said all type of, evil things to the police officers, the dozens of police officers that then shot hundreds of brothers. Nobody said they're stupid and they're wicked and they're dumb. But they will say that to John Morant for, being a young man just making a regular foolish mistake that most young people do anyway, right? So I'm going to move on. Give me 1 second. Let's see here. Let's see. Got 5 people in the room. You in the room, go ahead and share this class for me. All right. Go and share this class and like the class for the brothers and sisters that are in the room. Let me see. Where do I want to go? I want to go to, give me Deuteronomy. You got a question?
I wanted to say something. It's almost like what the point you was bringing out. It's almost like you could be anything but black in America.
Right.
A man can be a woman.
Mm-hmm.
A woman can be a man.
Right.
A gay woman can get pregnant.
Right.
But as soon as you start acting like who you really are,
Mm-hmm.
a black person, like
right.
your brother, carrying the gun,
mm-hmm.
playing with the gun, singing, dancing,
right.
That's wrong.
Yeah. Hey, that's correct. Get a sister a hand. That's correct. You can be anything you want to be in America. You can, like the sister said, you could be, if you're a man, you can be a woman. Hell, if you really want to, you can say that you're a cat. Now they have something called trans age. They got something where you can say, I can say that I feel like I'm a 15-year-old, and then I can now go to high school and, trans age. So you can be anything except being black. When you want to actually be black and be who you are and have the spirit of a black person, then it's a problem. That was a good point, right? I want you to get Deuteronomy 21 and 18 and just hold that. All right. So when it comes to the evil, right? The evil, I went over this at when I was at camp. The evil that we do to one another, when it comes to us killing one another, the hate that we have for one another, the short fuse that we have with other black people, black and Hispanic people. You gotta, now this is like Christianity will tell you, like, you got to turn the other cheek, right? But of course they don't understand what that means, right? It means you just got to forgive. You got to give your chance. You got to give your brother another chance. That's all. That's what turn the other cheek means. Meaning I'm giving you another chance, right? Doesn't mean that I'm actually letting you beat me down and I'm standing there and letting you beat me down. It'd be wise for you to defend yourself whenever your life or your safety is in danger, right? That's what we will advise all Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to do in the I.S.U.P.K. is to defend yourself. Don't be no damn Christian that is going to sit there and let somebody hit you and lump your head up, and you talking about, I forgive you. I turn the other cheek. I forgive you. Jesus love you and I love you too. Why you got a damn bandage the big as a Taliban turban on your head, right? Don't do that. But you can defend yourself when the time comes. Don't be no coward. Do not be no coward. You understand? The thing is though, when it comes to Black and Hispanic people, we have such a short fuse that we hurt one another in a way that it terrorizes our community. And I'm talking about gangs. I'm talking about, brothers in the streets, brothers hustling. We have such hatred for one another, and it be over really nothing, because you got to think we are a people that is a tribal people. We are a people. I mean, we're Israelites. We're a warlike people. The problem is that we put all the energy into warring with each other instead of warring with who we need to war with, and putting the blame where the blame needs to be. And so when it comes to, you raising sons and sometimes daughters that are hard-headed, or that you're not, you got them in this element and you're not raising them right, at one point they get to an age where there's nothing you can do with them anyway, where they rebel and where they're in the streets, and when they want to commit crimes and they want to do, things that they shouldn't be doing. Well, we're going to read about what happens to children, particularly young men, when they are out of hand. Like we see a lot of our brothers in our communities straight out of hand, and they call it the school to prison pipeline. Literally, that they have, they've done studies on this. There's books out on this. the school to prison pipeline, meaning we are born for the slaughter. We are born to go right into the prison system or right into the grave, right? So give me that.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 21 and verse 18.
Mm-hmm.
If a man have a stubborn and rebellious son, which will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother, and that when they have chastened him, will not hearken unto them. Verse 19. Then shall...
So wait, hold on. So it's saying if you have a stubborn or rebellious son, that even when you discipline him, he still won't listen to you. Go ahead.
Verse 19. Then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him and bring him out unto the elders of his city and unto the gate of his place. Verse 20.
Hold that. So then you'll take your son to the elders of the city. In Israel, you had your elders. You had, and let's think about in a small community. A lot of y'all probably live in a small community, even a complex, like a complex, a neighborhood, a gated community, apartment complex. Early in the morning, this is something you might see all the older men hanging around, drinking coffee. Nowadays, drinking coffee, smoking cigarettes, talking, chopping it up. Well, in Israel, the elders, the older men of the city, the wise men would sit out in the chief concourse place of the city, in the middle of the city, and they would talk about different issues and all of those things. And if there was issues within the city, within the town, you'll bring them to the elders for them to bring about a judgment, right? Just like if you know I.S.U.P.K, if you ever been in council, right? Go ahead. Oh, so they're bringing this son to the elders of the city. That's what they're doing. After this son, he's not listening. He's hard-headed. You telling them stop doing this, stop stealing cars, stop hanging out with your friends, stop coming in the house smelling like weed. I found some dope in your drawer. Where do you get this stuff from? What are you doing? Police is knocking on my door over you. It's time for me to take it up with the elders because I can't do anything with you. Go ahead.
Verse 20. And they shall say unto the elders of his city, this is our son, stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. Verse 21. And all the men of his city shall stone him with stone, that he die. So shalt thou put evil away from among you.
So you take your son to the elders and say you can't do anything with him, and he's not listening. He's a drunkard. He's a drug dealer. He's terrorizing the community. I've gotten plenty of people come saying he shot at him. The elders will take your son, and all of Israel will stone him to death, that he die. Right? Is that it on it? Where is that? Yeah, go ahead. Keep reading.
Okay. And all Israel shall hear and fear. Verse 22. And if a man have committed...
So let me bring that back. That last part. All Israel shall hear and fear. Meaning he was made an example for everybody to see what happens when you behave this way. And that's the problem in the Black and Hispanic community. We don't have any examples of what could happen. We don't have any examples, but there was a recent example in Haiti, in Haiti. They went into the houses of the gangbangers, drug them out the house, stoned them, and set them on fire. That's what they did in Haiti, probably like 2 weeks ago. The people of the community, you know why? Because they was tired of the gangbangers terrorizing the community. You hear, they was tired of people getting robbed, tired of people getting killed, stray bullets, kids, grandmothers getting hit in gun fights. They was tired of it. And so what they did, even though I'm not saying it was right, we don't condone violence in the I.S.U.P.K, but you can see that was biblical. And that made, and I'm sure when those people saw those bodies burning, anybody that had the itch to pick up some drugs or gang bang was scared straight. Anybody that had that itch, yeah, that made that they did a detour that day. They said, you know what, maybe that ain't the best career choice. So like here, it said, and all Israel shall hear and fear, meaning that example made all of Israel heard about that example. You know how fast bad news travel in Israel. Think about how fast, especially with social media today, bad news travels fast. But all Israel would hear it and they would fear. They would know, like, yeah, don't get out of hand like that, because you see what can happen. Keep reading.
Verse 22. And if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be put to death, and he be to be put to death.
Salaki, you can drop that. But that is what would happen to brothers and sisters. So this is a warning to brothers that gang bang, brothers that live the street life, brothers that's harming other brothers, that's terrorizing their community, right? That's having gunfights, that's taking advantage of their community. This is what awaits you. Now, the Lord has a different ways in how he could touch you. But I'm sure you don't want to be touched. I'm sure you don't want the Lord to touch you. So I suggest, if that is your lifestyle, and I suggest if not only if that's your lifestyle, but if you're a young man, or if you're a parent that's listening that have young men that behave in this way, it's only a matter of time before the Lord puts them to death. That's biblical. You understand? You was gonna say something?
No.
All right. If you could give me give me 1 Timothy 6 and 11. First, let me get there with you. Let me get there with you. Go ahead.
The book of 1 Timothy chapter 6 and verse 11. But thou, O man of God, flee these things.
Salaki, skip up. I want you to come up to. You can start at verse 1. No, verse 3.
The book of 1 Timothy chapter 6 and verse 3. If any man teach otherwise, and consent not to wholesome words, even the words of our Lord, Yahushua HaMashiach, and to the doctrine which is according to godliness. Verse 4, he is proud, knowing nothing, but doting about questions and strifes of word, whereof cometh envy, strife, railings, evil sermons,
surmisings. This is the brother that rejects Christ. This is a brother that rejects the things that we have learned from Christ. So yeah, keep reading. Go ahead.
Verse 5. Perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds.
Salaki, hold that. What's the problem?
I'm telling her to go back and sit down and stop playing with the water bottle. She won't do it.
Young lady,
I said it 3 times.
go ahead and have a seat. Go ahead, Ak.
Verse 5. Perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds, and destitute of the truth, supposing that gain is godliness. From such withdraw thyself.
That's what they learn in the Christian church. They learn that gain is godliness. It's called prosperity gospel, right? You've taught in the church that, you sow a seed and you'll get a return from the money that you put in. And they look at the Most High as though he is a slot machine. So you sow this seed. So it's basically like you're gambling, right? And that's the prosperity gospel. Not only that, Christians, everything that a Christian get everything that good that happens for a Christian is of God, and everything that is bad it's the devil. That's just how they think in the Christian church, right? But we know that is not true. Keep reading.
Verse 6. But godliness with contentment is great gain.
So godliness with contentment is great gain. What does it mean to be content? Young man.
To not want.
Let's get the definition. Let's get the definition. I'll get it for you. Let's get the proper definition. So every time. So this is just the straight off of Google. It's being in a state of peaceful happiness, or a state of satisfaction, or being satisfied, right? So being content is being okay with your situation and being satisfied with what you have and not being greedy for gain. You know, you have some people that are never content. Like the Bible says, the eyes are never satisfied, right? Where we at?
Verse 6.
Verse 6, go ahead.
But godliness with contentment is great gain.
So godliness with contentment is great gain. Keeping the law, statute, and commandments, being in the truth. Now, don't get me wrong. When I say being satisfied, I'm talking about the way people, this is the way people in the world are. So they're not satisfied. Nothing is ever enough. You have to get more and more and more. You ever seen a person that you look at and they got literally everything that a person can want, but they're never happy. And they want this and they want that, and they're never happy. And it's always something. They're never content with what they have, although they have a lot more than the average person. That's how people are in the world. But in the truth, even though you may be, going to school for something, you may be, growing and bettering yourself in certain areas, you're not stressed out and you're not worried about the things that you don't have. You're content knowing who you are in the truth and knowing where you're at. And in the Bible says that is more gain than anything, right? Read it one more time.
But godliness with contentment is great gain.
So godliness with contentment is great gain, right? Go ahead.
Verse 7. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out.
Oh, we all know that. You're not taking none. You're not taking that car. You're not taking no house. None of your, your accessories and your gold and your diamond. None of that is going with you to the grave. Go ahead.
Verse 8. And having food and raiment, let us be there with content.
So the fact that you got a house over your head, you got food in your mouth, you got food in your belly, you should be content. I tell my kids all the time, listen, you talking about you hungry, you don't look like you lost any meals. But so like it. No, but you talking about you hungry, you talking about you starving, you don't know what starving is. Let me show you some of them bubblehead babies in Africa with them stomachs and flies on their head, show you what starving is. Or how about the brothers and sisters, them kids in Brazil, when they go to sleep, the stars is their roof. They sleeping outside. You don't know what it is to go through. You know what I mean? But when it comes to us as an adults or even teenagers, if you got everything you need, you should be thankful for that. You should be content. You should be satisfied, right? And when I say that, I'm not saying that you shouldn't want more, but you should be content with that. Because how can you grow spiritually if all you're doing is worrying about material things all the goddamn time? Right. You can't grow spiritually. You're supposed to be feeding your spirit. You're supposed to be feeding this. You can't feed that when all you're feeding that is materialism and the things that you want, and I want this new car, I want, I seen this new Gucci dress. You can't your spirit is dying while you're feeding the material part. You're feeding your flesh and not your spirit, right? You can't grow. Keep reading.
Verse 9. But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition.
Right. So you being rich, you fall into temptation and a snare. A snare is a trap, right? And many foolish, hurtful lust. Lust ain't just something that's sexual. You can have a lust for money. You could have a lust for, living the high life. You could have a lust for attention, for being seen all the time. That's a strong lust on social media where women want that attention. That attention is a lust. That attention, because let's be real, you don't really need the attention. You don't really need it. And I would challenge any brother or sister that's listening to stay off of social media for a month. You feel like it's an urge, but stay off of social media for a month and see what other things you pick up, or what other things you're able to get done, and how much did you even miss it, right? Measure how much did you even miss it after the 30 days. You'll be surprised that you ain't missed a damn thing, right? But that is a lust. It is a lust for that attention, right? There's all type of, like what I said, money. I said there's a lust for a way of living. There's a lust for material things, to have the latest shoes. There's a lust for to have the latest not latest, but have jewelry. There's all type of lust. It's not just sexual. Go ahead.
It's kind of like going back to your last point you made about the brother, with how everybody made a big deal about him flashing a gun.
Uh-huh.
Well, you could go on Facebook or any social media and see a woman bare bottom,
right,
twerking.
Right.
Nobody has a fit about that.
Yeah. Nobody.
Let this brother enjoy himself.
Yeah. Damn, sis, you just bringing out some good points. Give the sister a hand. Listen, what the sister said was on point. Now, you have people that are how they're upset about John Morant flashing that gun, but no one is upset about all of these sisters half naked on social media twerking. Nobody is outraged at that. Now they talking about John Morant. What is wrong with you? Are you stupid? What are you thinking? You should be saying that about the sisters that's half naked on social media. What are you thinking? Are you dumb? You get what I'm saying? But even people have a lust, right? And when I had brought out that I had a video where I was talking about how the sisters that are on social media that are half naked, the strippers, the OnlyFans, the sisters in OnlyFans, the prostitutes, all of them come from broken homes. All of them come out of a home of dysfunction. All of them have either been molested, have been abused mentally, physically, parents on drugs, all of that. A brother had the nerve to say to me is that, he knows that's wrong, but he's still going to look at it. Like, brother, what is wrong with you? Are you dumb? Are you stupid? But that's his lust. But that lust is fed by the lust that our sisters have for attention on social media, right? Because nobody is saying the sisters wouldn't want to do it if somebody was chastening them and saying you shouldn't do it, and they were feeling some type of shame. They feel no shame because our oppressors' way of running social media does not, hold women accountable. Shame is like what they call it. They call it slut shaming. They don't want you to slut shame. I don't know if that's a bad word on social media. I mean, on live or not, but it's like it. They don't want you to slut shame, and so they even fight back against you even saying anything about a woman's appearance, and it's almost like you're a pervert or you're a freak for even saying anything, for even saying that it's wrong. Like, am I wrong for telling my daughter, no, you're not going to wear this, you're not going to wear that? Hell no. But for some reason on social media, you're wrong for saying what looks good and what doesn't, what is shameful and what it is immoral, right? The Bible tells you about the immoral woman. Where you at?
2 Timothy 2.
If you could drop that, give me Psalms 37 and 23. Just drop Psalms 37 and 23.
You want to know?
Yeah, go ahead.
The book of Psalms, chapter 37 and verse 23. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord.
The Bible says the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Like you make your moves. In I.S.U.P.K, we do what we do. We go and teach Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians the truth about the Bible. We have food drives. We go into the prisons. We do different things in the community. We brothers sit and come up with ideas that what can we do to push this truth, and these things come out of here. They come out of our heart, which is our mind. We think about these things, but these things are actually ordered by the Lord. Why? Because we're following the law, statute, and commandments. Right. That is the blueprint of all of the things that we do in the I.S.U.P.K. So everything we do for the community, whether it be food drives, whether it be cookouts, whatever it be we do, these are ideas that the generals, captains, the officers have came up with, even some troopers have come up with. But at the end of the day, these steps, meaning these movements, these things that we are doing to further this truth are ordered by the Lord. All right. You could drop that. Give me Salakia, let me think. Give me Job. Give me 2 Timothy 2 and 5. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 5.
The book of 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 5. And if a man also strive for masteries, yet is he not crowned, except he strive lawfully.
Right. If you strive for masteries, meaning you can be a master of many things. You could be a master at, what are some of the things you can master? You could be a master at your air conditioners, fixing air conditioners, havoc. You could be a master carpenter. You could be a master, sculptor, artist. There's all type of things you can do where you master your craft, right? Read it from the top.
The book of 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
If a man also strive for masteries, yet is he not crowned, except he strive lawfully.
Right. You're not crowned unless you strive lawfully. All of these masteries that you have, they mean nothing without keeping them law, statute, and commandments and being perfect, man. And you can do it. It can be done. It's not impossible. It's not impossible to be a master at your craft, to have a profession. Christ had a profession. He was a carpenter. You understand? Some other brothers had professions. They had all kind of professions. You know what I'm saying? But you want to be. It doesn't matter what you do, what you're trying to master. You want to keep the law, statute, and commandments also. Go ahead. Was there any more on that? What verse is that? That was verse 5. You can drop that. Salakia. Give me Job. Give me Job 38 and 3. Job 38 and 3.
The book of Job, chapter 38 and verse 3. Gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee, and answer thou me.
So the Bible wants not the Bible, but the Lord wants a man to be a man. The Lord wants you to gird up your loins like a man. He's talking to Job, but this is what the Lord requires of us as men, as brothers. Don't require you to be in the choir singing, to be, the drummer boy in the church, to be, that's not what the Lord wants from you. The Lord requires you to be a man, and the Lord requires you to be no coward, to be austere, like the precept, I'm paraphrasing, said that Christ was an austere man, meaning Christ was a man that was strict in word and in appearance. When you saw Christ, you knew things was about to go down, right? You knew nothing good was going to come out of his mouth. And when I say good, I'm not saying nothing good came out of his mouth. I'm saying that he told the truth. Black people don't like to hear the truth. If you're telling the truth, it's not good when it comes to Black and Hispanic people. When you tell the truth, like they hate brothers in the truth, because we speak what is real and we speak what Black people know they need to do and they don't want to do it. And so that's why they hate the I.S.U.P.K, because they don't want to do it. Straight up and down. Black people love pleasure more than they love righteousness. So the things that we say, there is really nothing wrong with what we're saying. They just know that we follow the Bible and we're for real with what we do. So if you get down with us, you're going to have to do it, and you're going to have to let go of weed. You're going to have to let go of sleeping with whores. You're going to have to let go of just hating your brother for nothing. You're going to have to make amends with your father that you hate. They know that they're going to have to actually do the things that the Bible say, and so they're not ready for it. So what's the next thing to do? It's to hate us and say that we're wrong, and say that, you know, we hate women and all other kind of BS, right? Read it from the top again.
The book of Job, chapter 38 and verse 3. Gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee, and answer thou me.
Gird up thy loins like a man. The world don't require a Black man to be a man. The world don't want you to be a man. And Black man, you don't want to be a man, right? You want your woman to be the man. And you want to, you know, say, oh, yeah, I love her. I'm going to let her do her thing. I don't want to argue. She could. No, you're supposed to be running the household. You're supposed to be making decisions. And you're supposed to be the person that everyone comes to ask whether or not they should do this or do that. You're supposed to be in charge, right? We're not saying that you're supposed to be a tyrant over your household or a man that is crazy over your household, but you are supposed to be austere. You are supposed to be strict. You are supposed to be a man. You're not supposed to be effeminate. You know what effeminate means, young man? What it mean?
Girly.
Girly, correct. A feminine man is a man that has women tendencies. Sometimes, he acts tender. You have a lot of feminine men. Most Black men are a feminine man. I don't give a damn what they look like. They've been in the military. They got a beard. Most Black men are a feminine man, especially in the Christian church, right? And the Bible says that a effeminate man won't even enter the kingdom of heaven. You understand that? We're not talking about a man that sleeps with other men. We're talking about a man that sleeps with women, but he just, he's kind of soft on the edges. He won't even enter the kingdom. Why is that? Why is that? I thought that God loved everybody, and I thought that, God is loving and, kind and merciful. God is kind. He's very merciful. He's very loving, but he's also a man of war. You got to look at the Most High like he's a general. The Most High is like a general. That's Exodus 15 and 3. The Lord is a man of war. You know what I'm saying? He's you're dealing with a man of war, so you're dealing with someone that, read that again.
Gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee.
You're dealing with somebody that requires a man to grab his midsection, grab the cojones and be a man. And he'll require that of you. Is that what it said at the end?
And answer them.
And he said, well, he was talking to Job. He told Job to answer me. Be a damn man and speak up. Stop mumbling. Stop grumbling. Stop whining and complaining. Fight them demons. Fight that spirit that wants you to be soft. Fight that spirit that wants you to mope around and feel bad for yourself, feel sorry for yourself.
Right.
That's something I learned when I first came in here. Captain Gadar told me, don't ever feel sorry for yourself. Right. I'm telling you, don't ever feel sorry for yourself. Don't ever walk around with your head down in self-pity. You're the children of God. What the hell you got to feel sorry for yourself for? Everything that's coming to this world is promised to you if you keep the law, statute, and commandments.
That's right.
You understand? Everything that's promised to you. Don't feel sorry. Feel sorry for your brothers and sisters that was here and they prayed for another day to see a day like this, to learn that Jesus Christ was black, to learn that they were God's chosen people, to know who they were. You got black people that prayed every day and never knew what you know today. They're in the grave, and you know what you know. How precious is that gift? This is a precious gift from the Most High. It's people from the time of slavery that prayed for the chariots to come. It's people that prayed to get out of bondage. It's people that prayed to be able to be free, not to have to get up every morning and work like a slave picking cotton. And they're dead today, and they never knew that they were God's chosen people. You got something special on your hands. You should take hold of it. You should take hold of it. You should take it serious. I know I do. I got children. You understand? And if you got children, you should think about your children. Don't think about you. Think about your children. Because what you do affects your children, right? The hell the Lord being with me, I hope that the Lord just be with my kids. You understand? That's how you should be. You should make your election sure. I was speaking I was just speaking in a way figuratively. Of course, I want the Lord to be with me, but what I'm saying is you gotta want to serve the Lord so bad. Think if it's hard to serve the Lord, think about the things that you love, that you don't want to get hurt, that you don't want to die. Think about those things that you want protected, the people that you love, and at least do it for them. At least start keeping the law, statutes, commandments, and following the Lord for them. Right. You understand? Ain't nobody. I'm making my election sure. Ain't nothing promised. I don't know. I can't say. And Commander Junior Yohanna, anybody in the truth will tell you, we don't know if we're gonna get on those chariots, right, but we're gonna make sure we do everything we can to get on those chariots. You understand? Anything else on that? Let me see. Give me Hebrews 13:4. We're just doing a basic scripture breakdown. Y'all got any questions? Y'all can put them in the chat. Let me just shout out everybody that's in the chat the names that I see. I'm gonna start. Olivia Arnold, shout out to you for rocking and being in the class. You be in the class all the time. Amara, Shalom, you in the class. Letitia, Shalom, sis, you in the class. Just, you in the class. I got a class of all sisters? Oh, nerd, Angela, Nerd and Angela, Shalom, Malakmash, Real Jake, UPK Shabal, Shalom. Hey, the water for rocking with me being in the class, y'all. Alatazar, what's good, Ot? Shalom, Lord in Christ, Ot. You got that for me? Alatazar, man, Alatazar down there had me in tears at his first camp speaking. This nigga, he came, he brought the pain, he brought the fire at his first speaking. Let's clap it up for this brother. That brother brought it. I was behind the camera. I was like, good night. He reminded me of the first time I spoke. Right? That brother, you could tell when a brother's been waiting to let it all out and get on that mic and blaze. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. What you got? Hebrews 13:4. Go ahead. Let me hear it.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 13 and verse 4. Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled.
You could drop that, but let's just break it down. Go ahead and break it down. Go ahead and read it from the top. I'll break it down anyway.
Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled.
The Bible says that marriage is honorable in all. So everybody knows that when it comes to marriage, sex is marriage, intercourse is marriage, right? That consummates a marriage. Matter of fact, get the definition. Consummate. Get the definition. I don't want to just be, I want to break it down a little bit. Yeah. Y'all up in here, go see that. Go see that brother's video. Alatazar's video on Hollywood Israelites.
The Merriam-Webster definition of consummate: extremely skilled and accomplished, of the highest degree, complete in every detail, perfect. To make marital union.
To do what? Okay, Salaki, I stopped you. Go ahead.
To make marital union complete by sexual intercourse.
To make a marital union complete by sexual intercourse. According to the Bible, sex is marriage. But if you look the definition up for consummate, like you consummate a marriage, you consummate the union by having sexual intercourse. Of course, biblically, that's what that union should never be broken. But if you want to have a ceremony, you could also have a ceremony. That is not unlawful either. So I know sisters and brothers coming from the world, really just sisters coming from the world, you hear that sex is marriage. It's like, oh, we're just gonna have sex and now we're married. Like, I don't have a ring. No, a ring is not Israelite culture. A ring comes from Rome. That's Roman culture, right? The ring and the throwing of the rice. But when it comes to a ceremony, that you definitely could have a ceremony. That's up to the man and woman. You can have a nice little ceremony and get it on, like that. Keep reading.
But whoremongers and adulterers, God will judge.
But whoremongers and adulterers, God will judge. So, Salakia, I left one part out. Read it from the top again. I left one part of that out of that.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 13 and verse 4. Marriage is honorable in all, in the bed undefiled.
So marriage is honorable in all, in the bed undefiled, meaning whatever you do in your bedroom is your business between you and your wife. I gotta say between you and your wife because of the times we live in today. I don't want nobody to get it twisted. Whatever you do in your bedroom with you and your wife is undefiled. That is y'all business, right? Y'all married according to the law. That is your business. Keep reading.
But whoremongers and adulterers, God will judge.
But whoremongers, meaning brothers that just go around sleeping with sisters and throwing them away. You the player, Big Willie style. You doing it. You the man. You the nigga with the big rims in a nice car, and you can get any woman, and you get with her, and you leave her. The next week you at the club, you with another woman. After that, you with another woman. You're a whoremonger. You will be judged. What did it say? And adulterers? And adulterers, meaning that if you're married, go ahead. Meaning if you're married, you know what I'm saying, you can't be sleeping as a woman. If you're married, you can't sleep with another man. You're an adulterer. Now, if you're a man and you sleep with a single woman, you're not an adulterer. But if you sleep with a woman that is another man's wife, you are an adulterer. You're going to be judged for that. And it might come sooner than later because people be finding out things and brothers don't be playing, right? They be ready to kill you. And I'm not saying that to be funny. That's in the Bible. In the Bible, it talks about that. It talks about a man sleeping with a woman that calls him over while her husband is gone away out of town. And then the man comes back and he shoots him in the heart with an arrow. It says he didn't know that he was going to lose his life. That actually happened about a year ago to a rapper in Atlanta named Trouble. He was sleeping with some woman, and her boyfriend, who she just broke up with 3 weeks before, came in the house and shot him in the chest and killed him, right? That's why in the I.S.U.P.K, you got to make sure a woman does not have a man. You don't just mess with no woman. It's levels to it, right? To protect you and to protect her. Go ahead. You gonna ask a question?
So the brother that's jumping around and leaving all the women. What happens after for the women? Are they still married to that brother?
Well, that's a good question. The brother said the brother that's whoremongering, after he's jumping from these different women, what happens to those women? Well, he's basically he has sex with that woman and he leaves her and she knows they're done. He basically made her a whore because what is she going to do? She's going to sleep with someone else. That's just what a woman is going to do. Hold on. Let me see. Let me find a precept. It's when they was talking to Christ. So like it's in like Matthew. Matthew, let me see. It might be Matthew 19. Let's see. 1 second. So Matthew 9, is it Matthew 19? And let me see. Okay, so give me Matthew 19 and 9.
The book of Matthew, chapter 19 and verse 9. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication.
So Christ is saying, whoever should put away his wife, except if it be for fornication, meaning she slept with another man. So if he's just putting her away and she didn't do anything, it's just that he wants to go mess with another woman and he's done with her. Go ahead.
Whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another.
And shall marry another. So you got to think about it like how in today's time, he's sleeping with other women. It's not saying he's having sex with them. It's saying he's marrying them, right? Because when you lay with a woman, you marry them. So let's just say it's a brother. He's with this woman. Then he says, "Oh, I like her," and he's like, "I'm cool on her. I'm not messing with her no more. I'm gonna go get with her." So now he gets with this woman, right? And he left her. Go ahead. So when it says, and he shall marry another. Go ahead.
Committed adultery.
He committed adultery. Okay, go ahead.
And whoso marrieth her which is put away, doth commit adultery.
So when he leaves her, she's going to eventually get with another man. He's not going to know that she's still tied to the last brother that left her. So essentially, what she's going to become is what? A whore. He's a whoremonger. He's creating a whore by leaving her. All right. So where was we at? Hebrews 13:8. So we finished that, right?
So like 13 and 4.
Hebrews 13 and 4. Were you done with that? You were done with that? Give me Jeremiah 16 and 19. I'm going to end it with this. End it with this.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 16 and verse 19. O Lord, my strength and my fortress, and my refuge in the day of affliction.
Mm-hmm.
The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth.
Now, this is an end time prophecy. This is Jeremiah talking about the Gentiles. Who are the Gentiles?
Both of them specific.
We're talking about, go ahead, sis.
Is it like the people that are not Israel?
Gentiles are usually people that are not Israelites.
Right.
Sometimes it can refer to Israelites, right? That's in your Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. So sometimes we were called Gentiles. So the tricky thing is in the New Testament with Paul, we were called Gentiles, and that's what throws off a lot of people that's Christians that hear the truth. Because they say, oh, no, they were going to Gentiles, and they think they were going to other nations to get them saved. They think Paul was going to other nations. when really he was going to Israelites that had been kicked out of Israel years ago, right? He was going to Israelites that had grew up in other lands, in Ephesus, Corinth, Antioch, you know, these different cities he would go to, and these people didn't even know they were Israelites. Kind of like you and me in America before we heard the truth. We're in another land. We don't know we're Israelites. We didn't grow up circumcised. Well, we didn't grow up keeping the high holy days from our youth. We don't know anything about our heritage. But then somebody came along, or this truth came along through the I.S.U.P.K, and we heard about it. Those were the Gentiles during the time of Paul and Peter, who they were going to. And at the same time, you had Israelites that were still living in Jerusalem that grew up being circumcised, that grew up keeping all the laws, and they looked at anybody that hadn't done that from birth as a heathen or an outcast or a Gentile, even though they were blood Israelites. They didn't want them to come into the fold, right? They didn't want them to come back into the fold. And that's what that's what Peter and Paul's mission was to get those people, the uncircumcised. Go ahead.
Which definition was used first? The other nations or us being raised in other nations? Was the other nations first called the Gentiles?
The other nations were called Gentiles first. But in the context, you just gotta that's when you study more and you'll know the context of what you're reading. So right here, what we're talking about is a future prophecy. So this is talking about the Gentiles, and you're going to understand when we get to the end of it and when I break it down. Go ahead.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 16. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 16 and verse 19.
Mm-hmm.
O Lord, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies,
right?
Vanity and things wherein there is no profit,
right?
Verse 20.
Drop it right there. So this is a future prophecy. So you have a people in Israel today that claim to be God's chosen people. You have a people that think that they are really the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, when in reality, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So you have not only those people, but people all in the world, these different nations that know the history that what's the word I'm looking for? They know about the history of us being slaves, right? And they look at us from that standpoint. They look at us as though, these are the people that were slaves. They ain't no good. They're shooting one another in the hood. They in Chirac. Their women is twerking on the internet. All they good for is playing basketball and sports. And that's all they're known for. And they don't know, right? You have the white man in America. He thinks that he was the Greeks. He thinks he was the Greeks. He was the Romans. He thinks he's the master of the universe. He created civilization. He made everything civilized. He made the savages civilized. He took the slaves out of Africa, and if they wasn't in America, they would be in mud huts in Africa. And you have all of these Gentiles that think they are something, when according to the Bible, they are less than spittle. Right. Well, on that day, I want you to read it again. On that day, they're going to realize something, that they have inherited lies. Go ahead, read it.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 16 and verse 19.
O
Lord, my strength and my fortress, and my refuge in the day of affliction. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth.
The Gentiles will come from the ends of the earth. Go ahead.
And shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies.
They're going to say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, meaning our forefathers have inherited lies because they have taught us those lies, and we believe those lies. Go ahead.
Vanity and things wherein there is no profit.
They taught us vanity and things where there is no profit. Vanity means uselessness, and things wherein there is no profit. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 20. Shall a man make gods unto himself?
You can drop it right there. They're going to realize that, damn, this whole time we've been thinking that we was the ones. We've been thinking that we was God's chosen people. We've been thinking that we went to the moon. We've been thinking that we created civilization. We've been thinking that if it wasn't for us, these people would be in mud huts. When in reality, they are the chosen people of God. When in reality, now we have to come and bow down and worship at their feet. Right. You understand? That's Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. In that day, they're going to realize everything that they have learned, these Gentiles and these other nations, that it was all lies. Right. It was all for nothing. And it was all for us to come back into this truth, come back to our heritage, and now we are going to be on top. And they're going to realize that in that day. And in that day, their heart and all of their pride is going to come down. You know how the water runs down a window on a rainy day? That's how America's pride is going to come down. They're going to come down and they're going to bow down to a black man named Jesus Christ. With that, I'm going to end the class. Let's clap it up. All right. Hey, y'all, thank y'all for rocking with me. I'm Priest and Officer Tawaga Bar. I'll be back here next Wednesday. You know, Lord willing, we'll be back and we'll get it in. And that's the end of the class with that. Shalom, Israel.